Welcome to episode 1 of Faith Until We Make It. My name is DR.AyieraJR. If you're new here and you've not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Check the scoreboard, yeah.
You need to look the part. You need to look the entrepreneur. You need to look good.
But I will. You got me set for life. Angels in heaven.
Nobody talks about the faith that you need before you start seeing the results.
You got me set for life.
Welcome to Faith Until We Make It.
My day one looks like finishing campus or finishing undergraduate, then getting out there. So as I mentioned, I'd gone to undergraduate at Technical University of Mombasa. I finished in 2018. Of course, nimeenda campus sana mpaka sahi niko campus bado ninasoma in one or another, but either way, let's talk about the day one of undergraduate. That is where life begins. So I finish my campus, I get out here. Nikishatoka hapa nje, kwanza I was in a very serious tough relationship yenye nilikuwa nimesema ninawa advice, yenye nimekuwa nikiwa advice on the podcast that had started in 2018. So after getting outside here, and I was in a relationship, the then boyfriend used to stay in Nairobi. I come back to Nairobi, or I go back home and tell my parents I need to go for my master's. I need to come back to Nairobi. I need to go for my master's, but in Nairobi. So I convinced my parents to take me to USIU. Kwanza nimeambia parents venye USIU it is the best school. Unajua wazazi wa ushaga waelewi USIU ni nini. Mimi nishataka kuset standards kwa hii dunia. Na nikamwambia usijali. The second semester I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna pay for myself. Nitakuwa nimepata kazi. So I come to Nairobi purposely to be in love and to go to school. Wacha niwaambie nilitamak Mungu wangu, my Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Where. It was terrible. It was tamaking. So I get to a situation where I cannot afford rent, because I told my parents I will manage to pay my own rent as long as they pay the school fees and everything else. So I get to a point where I do not have mbele wala nyuma. I see a job being advertised. In that job, ilikuwa ya watu wa kubeba sales people. Niyo time tulienda kuuza domestos. Nilikuwa nabeba kwa mgongo ustakejua. So I get to start selling that domestos. That was, let me say, the first job that I got in Nairobi. And it helped me get, pay my rent here and there. But sasa, ulikuwa lazima uuze hizo vitu zote zenye umepatiwa na sales manager. Ndo upate pesa yako. So, after, I'm still on campus. I cannot regret. It was a good experience for my master's. So I'm still in campus. So it gets to a point that I cannot do this job anymore. It is tiresome. I have to wake up at 6 o'clock, go sell in Umoja. Ninachukia Umoja. Oh my goodness. Ninachukia Umoja because I used to go to Umoja and I remember Umoja kwa cheap. My mind doesn't remind me of scenarios like those. So I get an opportunity now. After that, tumeuza, I get an opportunity to be working in a call center as an employee, doing US campaign. At that particular time, I was getting paid 18,000 Kenyan shilling. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness, oh my God. So when I got that opportunity to start working at that call center, over time, I realized I'm such a terrible employee. Being a terrible employee means nilikuwa nakujanga job siku 3. Akina Christine you can attest. Nakuja siku 3, siku zingine 2 mimi ni mgonjwa. I think probably I ever came to that work. I cannot count. I was just lucky that we had a very good team leader. Her name was Mudhoni and alikuwa ananitetea, but I was such a terrible employee. Nimeshow up siku 2, siku zingine 3 mimi ni mgonjwa. So that was basically my day one, and me being in that business of the call center, or me being in as an employee of that particular call center, I realized this thing is not going to work for me. I'm not going to be an employee forever. I do not enjoy waking up, going to work. I do not enjoy anything that is related to being an employee. I do not enjoy the salary. I do not enjoy anything that is being an employee. So I decided, that is the point that it hit me. I can just be an entrepreneur or something. I can start selling. I get to open a chips business. Wacha kwanza niwaambia about that chips business. Mimi nilipatiwa 50,000 na mzazi after nishamdanganya nimekuja campus. Amekuja hapa akaona kwanza ninauza vitu kwa mgongo, akaniambia, "Hey, no. Start open something." Akanipatia 50,000 to come and open a business. That 50,000 mimi nilikaa kwa hiyo business yangu ya chips. Mimi peke yangu nilikuwa nakula hiyo chips kwanza asubuhi mpaka jioni. Watu wakikuja, chips imeisha. Nilishakula ya asubuhi. Oh my goodness, I was such a terrible human being when it came to that chips business. Nikakula chips yangu, nikanona mashavu na nikafunga biashara after some time. Then I had to now struggle again. Go back again to employment. Try employment for the second time. I tried employment, but still with the second job that I had gotten. My goodness, I've been a terrible employee. And let me tell you a thing. For me, in my journey of being an employee or an entrepreneur, I do not give up. Mimi nitakuwa terrible employee na siwezi tuma resignation. Mtanifuta kazi nyinyi wenyewe. Nyinyi ndo mtaamua kunifuta kazi. So all the jobs that have been, mimi nimefutwa kazi, si eti niliambiwa toka politely, because sikukuwa na kuja job, sikukuwa na show up, I was such a terrible employee, as I've mentioned. So I get my second job as well. It sustained me for a while, but I told myself, I'm not going to do this anymore. At some point, I need to figure out on how to get out of this circus of me being an employee and trying to get into entrepreneurship. Let's talk about the pandemic first, where in 2020, si mnaona job siko, nimefungua biashara niko, siko, employment imekataa for me. In 2020, it got me while nilikuwa na kazi, but when the pandemic came, tukafutwa kazi, my goodness, I did not have any saving, anything. I thank God for the person that allowed me to stay in that place. I stayed in someone's place the entire of 2020. Wacha nikwambie, I thank God for them. Nilikula for free kwa wenyewe, na nikaishi for free kwa wenyewe, but I did not have any saving. I did not have anything that was pertaining to, in 2020, I don't know if I was the only person, but at some point of my life, I told myself, oh my goodness, I needed to end this life situation, because why am I living here and I am suffering and I cannot afford? I am living in someone's house, I am borrowing, nishaomba sijui madeni. Kwanza nakumbuka niliomba msichana mwingine anaitwa Unita haki nisamee jamani. Nilimwomba 5,000 and never returned that 5,000 even until today. I tried to call her out and then she never ever picked, because of course I reboot the friendship. But then again, now I had a lot of episodes like those of me being in job, out of job, trying a business, not trying a business. And in 2021, 2022, one of my friends, I can't remember the exact date, one of my friends, her name is Cindy, tells me that hii biashara yenye unajaribu, uko na biashara leo, kesho unauza manguo leo, kesho nini, unabeba hizi mavitu leo, one of these scenarios will work. And I remember myself, was it last week or the other week? I think a month haijaisha. I called one of my friends. He's in IT. And he has the most, yani umeona mtu ako na project 1 million zenye zina go on lakini hazimpatii pesa. Ako na project sijui ya kutengeneza what is it called, app ya taxi. Ako na project ya kutengeneza business kama yangu. Ako na project ya kufanya nini. Ako na project 1 million, but nothing is working out for him. So I kept telling him, I called him the other day and I told him, one of these scenarios that you are trying out, one of it will work and you'll be happy. Where did I get this analogy? I got it from my friend Cindy. Cindy alikuwa anaona nikiuza chipo, nikifanya sijui nini, nikiuza manguo, nikizurura sijui wapi, nikienda huku, nikijaribu employment, nikijaribu entrepreneurship, and it wasn't working. And she kept mentioning to me that, Sweeney, hizi vitu unajaribu, one of it will work out. Then you'll make it, or you will figure it out someday. So let me talk about how I got into now my business after I've told you the employment, the back and forth, and entrepreneurship, all those things. Still, while I was working at the company that I was, which was a call center, what happened is one of the employees there, his name is Charles. Charles used to alikuwa ameelewa hapa nje, ameelewa remote work, ameelewa hizi vitu. Siku ingine ananipigia simu ananiuliza, Swini, unataka kulipwa in dollars? Kumbuka ninalipwa 18,000 ama I think tulikuwa tumeongeza mshahara imefika 28,000. Unataka kulipwa in dollars? Mimi sijawahi ona dola kwa maisha yangu. Niko na 18,000 mbele nyuma ama 28,000. That is the maximum that I had seen. And I remember praying to God, Aki Mungu, nikipata job ya 30K, nitakuwa sawa. But either way, so Charles tells me, unataka kulipwa in dollars? Nikamuuliza, how many dollars? $4. Nikikalculate your time your $4, niko na kuja to 80K, sijui 70K. Nikamwambia bana, tuniitie job. Akaniita nikafanya interview. After nimefanya interview nikasema hii job now nitadedicate myself into it. Remember, I am a very terrible employee. I get to this particular job that I was doing at night. Now nishakuwa pro, nishakaa 3-4 months hapo kwa hiyo opportunity. Lakini mimi as usual I'm a very terrible employee. As I have mentioned, nilikuwa ninaingia saa 5 kulala, job inaisha saa 7. Job inaisha saa 7 saa 8. Nimeingia saa 5 kulala, siamki bwana mpaka asubuhi. It got to a point yenye nikafutwa kazi abrupt. So what happened, because nimekuwa nikilala, I've not been putting in work. So I called a person that we used to work with. He's Philippines. Na akaniambia, nikamuuliza, where did you get your opportunity? Akaniambia, I got it on Facebook. The moment I mentioned Facebook, I went to Facebook looking for similar opportunities. Then I got opportunities that were aligning to me, which was real estate BA or something like that. So I applied for that role. Let me tell you a thing. If I sit at the table with someone, I will convince you. The way I am trying to convince you right now to change your life or to better your life with entrepreneurship. So if I get to an interview, I will definitely convince those people. I got the opportunity, got into work. When I got into work, for the first month, of course, ukianza job, ukona bidii hapa na pale, ukona bidii. So nikafanya kazi mzuri. I was getting my KPIs, I was hitting my KPIs and everything else. Now the client that I was working with tells me, can you bring more people that are Kenyan? Because in the company we were working with Philippines, can you bring more people that are Kenyan? Just like you. Me that as a terrible employee. Then I brought 2 people. Nikasema the next time mimi nitakuwa broker bwana. Sasa nitakuwa nasema kama tunalipwa $5, mimi nitakuwa nawalipa $3, mimi nabaki na $2. So nikakuwa broker hapo katikati. Then after kukuwa broker for quite some time, it was just temporary brokerage. Then I told myself, what if I did this and brought people for clients? Then I got to, what is it called? I got to be paid, then I pay the people. I figured out that is the field that interests me the most. I went and registered a company. After I registered a company, I started now putting in people. Of course, there were challenges, pros and cons that I've learned along the way, and that is what exactly I want to share with you. And that is how I started Kryptonite. But did I remain in employment for such a long time before I got to stabilize the company? So tune in to get the story of Kryptonite. So thank you so much for joining in to Faith Until We Make It. I really appreciate you for tuning in and listening, and subscribe if you've not subscribed. So same time, same place next week. See you next time. Bye.
Check the scoreboard, yeah.
You need to look the part. You need to look the entrepreneur. You need to look good.
But I will. You got me set for life. Angels in heaven.
Nobody talks about the faith that you need before you start seeing the results.
You got me set for life.
Welcome to Faith, Until We Make It.